You know what? Got so much work to do, but it's such a nice day. Let's take this show on the road. Sunshiny day in a brisk December. Where should I get my work done today? I wonder. Have some video editing in the coffee. Have some music production in the park. Or some video games in the pub. Now to get home. Get in and get docked. And here we are. Pop the lights on. Get that laptop out of my bag. Get docked back here. And boom, we are away after a day. Out and about. Doing lots of lovely things. The remote work. Oh, what a nice day. Hi there, I'm TechDave, and today we're looking once again at my X1 Carbon, and you can see I've got a lovely little setup here for the X1 Carbon using the Ultra Dock. But we'll go more into that in a little bit. The basic gist of this episode is that I showed you my partner's setup and how she used, which is over there, and now we're going to look at my setup and how I've implemented Parsec so as to be able to do basically a remote workflow and use this X1 Carbon for everything I do on a day-to-day basis with computers. See you in the video. So, as you can see, this is my workspace here. And there is the X1 Carbon here on the left, which is connected to this monitor and this monitor. Little KVM there that switches back and forth between either the server, which is this thing here, or my desktop, which is this thing here. Now the basic idea with this is that I want to be able to do anything that I can do on these computers remotely on that via Parsec, but I also want to be able to do that anywhere with mobile phone signal. So we'll look further into that later on in the video, but for now I just wanted to show you what my setup looks like. So you've got an arcade stick down there and an old Mac and all sorts, but these speakers here, these big chunky ones and the ones on the desk, are wired into that mixer. Now that will come into play in a little bit, this thing here, because not only am I going to do all my gaming and video editing on that via Parsec, I'm also going to do music production, which I'm actually quite excited about, because if you look just here, this mixer off there is Firewire, and so I don't know if you can see, but I've got these cables, zoom out a little bit, cables coming out of it, meaning that you can go into this sound card here directly from there. Now the reason that's useful will become apparent later on, but we'll get to that. But basically the idea is to make a remote workroom and video editing, music production flow via Parsec. That will all be explained later on, but the basic gist is this. The server is going to be for video editing at 4K, recording on this camera, which is 4K, and then the music production will be on that, but the input and output and the video feed will all come through that. So that's the rough gist of the video, how I do everything using this entire setup, all on the laptop, potentially anywhere in the world. So I'll be right back. So as you can see, we've got the setup here. Now let me talk you through it a little bit more. So currently this TV here is connected to the X1 Carbon, but I can switch it with a KVM. And drumroll please, it is now attached to my desktop, which is here. And what else can I show you? This other screen up here, this one is attached to the desktop as well, which is important because when you use Parsec, you need a screen attached, or you can get a dummy HDMI, but I just leave this monitor here attached so that I can leave that monitor on for the desktop. Now this other monitor here that I've got in a vertical orientation, as you can see, it's just called my notes for the episode at the moment, is attached to the Ultra Dock via VGA. It's 1080p monitor, but it's only VGA connection. Down here I've got a 1 terabyte drive hidden. I'll show you a bit. Well, it's not that important, but I've got a 1 terabyte drive plugged in there that is attached to the dock by USB 3 so that we can back up all the files that we record on the go as soon as we get home. You can set it to automatically back up if you want to. Under here we now have the server plugged in to that monitor there, so this will take some time. I don't know whether this is on camera, but as you may have noticed, I'm wearing a lapel mic specifically to overcome the noise of this, but it is a condenser, so it's going to be quite sharp. So at the moment, this is all set up to run on the X1 Carbon as the main input device, but then it's got 2 separate monitors for this and this. I think I made that clear. So let's just fire up the server. Give it a sec. Get ready for the cacophonous noise of the server. Oh yeah, I don't know how that sounds through the lapel mic, I'll check in a minute. But yeah, like, it will eventually be on that screen there. So, this is the basic setup, and the idea is that I can take the X1 Carbon off-site, out of this room, near enough anywhere, I don't know whether I'm visible, but near enough anywhere, and then connect to all of these things. So I'll be back once the server's on, because I need to wait for the noise to level out to something reasonable. So, as you can probably hear, it'll be increasing volume as I get closer, but the server dies down quite nicely. Now I've got a little remote keyboard here for accessing the server, which doesn't appear to be working at the moment, but we'll figure that out in a minute. Oh no, there we go. And so, now my full setup is accessible, basically. So this is the server, or the workstation that I've turned it into there. That is the desktop. This is the laptop, this is the laptop. And as you can see, like from here, now I've just got one screen, but then I can dial into Parsec on, say we want to go to the server here, fire up DaVinci, or any of the Adobe suite. We've got everything set up here. Let's set the bandwidth limit quite high. You probably can't see really what I'm doing, but yeah, for example, there you go, we're connected to the server, a DaVinci Resolve is opening. Then we switch back over to the desktop, and now what I'm going to do is fire up this mixer, which is connected to these speakers, but I'm not going to turn the speakers on. I'm just going to use it as a device for... Oh, that's not quite working. Why is that not working? Let's reconnect. Change the bandwidth down a bit. Let's try that again. Mild teething errors. I shall return. Right, so here we are. And what we've done is we've got Ableton open and DaVinci Resolve. So over here, this is my workstation slash server, this thing, running DaVinci Resolve. So we'll look at that in a minute. We've also got Ableton open up here. Now, so what I've done, rather cleverly may I add, is found a way to take the second channel out of here, so channel left and right for the control room, into in 1 and 2 on this sound card. Now what that means, and I'll show you that first, what that means is that I can take desktop out of the sound card that is being used with Ableton to process the sound into a secondary sound card, which you could get a cheap one. For example, over here on the left, just up here, I've got a little Behringer one. They're about £20–30. So as long as you've got 2 ins, 2 outs on both sound cards, this is entirely doable. So you could buy a cheap extra sound card. Now, let me show you a bit closer up. So as you can see, server or workstation, desktop. Now this is attached to the X1 Carbon. So you can see I've got a little Zoom call open here, and this is where it gets really clever, because this is my gaming PC. I'm going to connect to that. Now at the laptop end, what you want to do with the Zoom call is mute the microphone and turn off the video to save some bandwidth, especially if you're out and about on the go. So that's the laptop, that is the desktop, and I've called myself from the desktop on and then picked up the call in Zoom on the laptop. So that means that this file is now coming out of the X1 Carbon through the TV. So you could plug in some headphones, take your X1 Carbon near enough anywhere with a good enough signal to send the signal. This is my Seismic Waffle Jam project. And as you can see, the audio is coming out through there. So we can just disconnect from Parsec. And I'll show you that the Zoom call is still going. And as you can see, so if I click, you can watch me click. It's almost instantaneous. So let's put the click on. It's almost, I don't notice any real latency there. If you're performing, there might be a latency playing in, but if you're just mixing, it'd be quite excellent for that. And then what else can we do? We can go to screen number 2 over there. So let's just disconnect from there and disconnect to connect to the server. And as you can see, as you'll see in the next part of the video, I've made a little music video, which I did remotely via Parsec from my garden. You'll see that time lapse of that in a minute. But I just made a basic video of one of my looping songs. See, I filmed it in 4K, edited it in 4K by generating optimized media on the server. I mean, it could edit without the optimized media, but it was not ideal even with 32 cores, you know, because 4K video is so dense, you know, and it saved me a lot of faffing and bandwidth and CPU usage that would have been used by Parsec otherwise. This is my little bass solo that I played. You get the idea. So basically I've proved, I mean, this could all be just one machine, do you know what I mean? It wouldn't have to be one dedicated rig, but in essence, you can music produce and video edit using your laptop, using all the grunt of your desktop or workstation or all these beastly computers down here. And as I will evidence in a minute, all you need is to have the home connections on gigabit. Let's hang up this call as well. Let's leave that meeting. We'll hang up the call because I don't want to use too much bandwidth. Anyway, the point is, from your laptop, you can now do music production and video editing anywhere with a decent signal. So even 4G is pretty much enough to do it if you've got 4 bars or more. But I found 5G was just that bit more usable because you'd have higher bandwidth settings. But let's cut to the footage I made. You'll have to excuse it in advance because I had to screen capture on the X1 Carbon through OBS what I was doing. So there might be a slight depreciation in quality. So let's check that out. Open the laptop, close your OneNote, turn on your 4G connection, wait a little bit for it to connect, open Parsec, dial into your server, and we're in. So now we're in, I'm going to edit the footage that I filmed, uploaded to OneDrive on here via screen capture using OBS. Enjoy. So just briefly, here I am. All I've got with me is the laptop and my Bluetooth headphones. Battery life, we're getting, I've got 3 hours 18 minutes left, or yeah, about 3 hours left with this workflow because I'm running OBS. Here, see, running OBS. So I'll switch over to capture on the stream and enjoy my lovely garden while you enjoy a brief minute time lapse of me video editing. And one note, the Bluetooth headphones work as well because Parsec passes through the audio from the desktop or whatever workstation you connect it to. Sweet. So here I am in the garden. I've tethered my phone. As you can see, I'm dialed into the server via 5G, which is USB tethered to the laptop. I've set a resolution of 1366 by 768, constant bandwidth limit 20 megabits per second, decoder Intel, codec H.264. I'm just generating optimized media because I'm using 4K clips. I did try using the Vodafone 4G connection, but it wasn't stable enough, so luckily I've got other options there. And yeah, I'm just going to wait for this to finish recording, finish making the optimized media, and then I should be back. Just before I go any further, I wanted to show you this. So I've gone to my laptop. Hold on, let's do this properly. Can you minimize that? I've gone to the battery icon, right clicked, power options, brought up this menu, create a custom power plan, downclocked the CPU to 60% its capacity, lowered the brightness and all that sort of stuff, the power saver option. And as you can see, we've got the optimized media made now. So there's a little cheeky bonus. So we've managed to stretch out battery life for 1 hour and 43 minutes. So there won't be any dialogue now, but it'll just be 1 hour and 43 minutes condensed into a very quick time lapse for you to enjoy whilst I video edit. Now, just before we move on, I thought I'd film just a quick interlude bit. What I'm going to show you next is some footage that I captured on the X1 Carbon using World of Tanks, the game World of Tanks, recorded direct from the laptop using OBS. And what I did was I got my capture card, captured my friend's laptop as well, put that into OBS, got an external webcam to capture my friend and the built-in webcam to capture me, and that's what you're about to see. It's just, I'll probably time-lapse it or just take out some funny bits or whatever, but I've shown that you can do two-player recording and streaming. And if there was a better internet connection, because at the time I didn't think to use the 5G on my phone, which would have been slightly better than the tethered internet, the wired internet that we had there. But in theory, you could stream this as well, and you could use GeForce Now, which we'll go into after this footage. But you could use GeForce Now as a way to play the game as well if there was enough bandwidth. Because at his house, I got 300 megabits per second on my 5G. Now that might seem like a lot of data, but depending on what it would probably use a lot of data, but it depends what settings you have on GeForce Now. So let's watch a bit of that, and I'll be right back. And as you can see, these two handsome boys are doing excellently when it comes to World of Tanks. We're getting an average frame rate on the top right machine, which is TechDave directly on the X1 Carbon recording via OBS, and then you can see he's getting an average frame rate around 30 to 40 frames per second. The bottom left is coming in through the capture card, top left is the camera dedicated to the two handsome boys, and then the bottom right is the camera for the handsome TechDave. Many kills were gained during the duration of this game, and I was surprisingly impressed with the performance. It was overwhelmingly positively a success. Although it remains to be seen how well this setup would perform if we were directly streaming this instead of just recording to the NVMe drive in the X1 Carbon. Thank you for watching. I've been voiceover man TechDave, and this has been a brief interlude with some World of Tanks performance 2-player recording. So, I think I've pretty much covered everything I wanted to show in the video, but I'm really, really into this setup, because even if you're just doing it over the local network, having one device set up here for all your inputs. Also, I found that my Lenovo mouse and keyboard set, this keyboard got destroyed and it now works again. Random thing that's really nice. I left the stem on this monitor after turning it vertically, and then use it as a headphone thing, so that's a nice touch. But anyway, I digress. The point about it is that this setup being connected to any of my other machines, with them all Ethernetted here, and then I can do 5G on my phone, which I can get up to 300 megabits per second is the fastest speed I've got, but it does cap out at higher than that, with like 40 megabit per second upload speeds, which is quite cool. And then there's a 4G SIM card just built into the device. Well, the SIM card's not built in, but the LTE module I fitted, and it's got a SIM card in it for just like casual usage. And then if I wanted to use like more color accurate or like higher definition, higher quality, I use the phone that I'm recording on now, and it's 5G connection. I was going to test multiple SIM cards, but I haven't found anywhere with decent signal on the other one, so we just stuck with O2, but I'm pretty pleased with their service. What else can I tell you? Yeah, that's basically it. So thank you for watching. I've been TechDave, and don't forget to like, subscribe, please share this video with anyone that might find it interesting, and look out for other content in the future. Hit the bell icon if you do subscribe, please, so that you get updates of all my videos. There's not that many of them coming out that I don't oversaturate my YouTube channel. So thanks for watching. Bye.